Aries solar eclipse, prenatal solar eclipse, what your soul contracted to teach others. Your mission. In this incarnation, you are teaching your fellow beings the lessons of assertiveness, independence, courage of convictions, and overcoming the fear of new beginnings. Through this process, you will draw people to you who tend to be clingy and overly dependent. Your job is to assist them in becoming more self-reliant. Simultaneously, you are challenged to avoid falling into the trap they set for you so that you don't begin to take over the lives of those around you. Self-reliance is teaching through an example, which means remaining independent and holding firm to the idea that all positive relationships may be represented by the symbol for infinity, separate yet connected. Teaching self-reliance through this example is teaching independence. In a relationship, both parties must go out and experience the world, then return and share. Through their experiences, each gains something to share, so each remains of value to the other. You intuitively understand the value of being independent, self-sufficient, and self-supported. Thus, you tend to draw people to you who are overly dependent on doing things with others. Through your ability to be independent and assertive, you can teach the value of getting out there and doing what needs to get done, no matter what obstacles are in the way. Or you can teach this lesson through procrastination, always looking for more data, never thinking you have enough information, and remaining too fearful to move on. Either way, the lesson gets taught. And if you teach voluntarily, it can be an accelerating process with your particular pattern. For life can now renew itself almost minute by minute. Courage. You're teaching your fellow beings to have the courage of their convictions. You use your innate sense of fair play. You will always come to the defense of those who cannot defend themselves, but you will leave them to fight their own battles if you find that they are not gaining courage with your support. You intuitively understand it is wrong for you to fight those who will not stand up for themselves. This would only make your own muscles stronger and not benefit them in any lasting way. Assisting the weak without allowing them to lean on you can sometimes appear heartless to outsiders. They don't see that you are teaching others true inner courage and strength by letting them stand alone. But you understand that allowing others to become dependent on you is much more cruel in the long run. This is why you fight for your independence as well as for theirs. Leadership. You're also teaching proper leadership through your example. In a positive leadership, you must pass the seed to those who are responsible for nurturing it and then move on. You understand that leaders must never remain behind, or they are not truly leaders, just manipulators. As a true leader, you begin the process. I need to read something again. You understand that leaders must never remain behind, or they are not true leaders, just manipulators. As a true leader, you begin the process, head it in the proper direction, and set a positive example of courage, assertiveness, and strength of convictions. You go forward with your project without sending another to find the way first, like Daniel Boone. You are right out there, clearing the path for others to follow. You teach them not to be afraid of something new or of new beginnings, and that it's all right to move forward, and that everything must change. Nothing can survive in a static environment. Now for the lunar. If your prenatal lunar eclipse is in Aries, this is what your soul is learning to emotionally embrace. Your mission in this incarnation, you're learning to be independent and have the courage of your convictions. In the past life influences, you have been overly dependent on the opinions of those around you. Somehow you developed a belief that others were more intelligent and that you were less capable. There is also a fear of not being liked, a fear of rejection, and a fear of creating disharmony through conflict. To compensate for these fears, you have let others dominate your life. You are learning that you are entitled to your own thought processes and that there is a definite reason for all of humankind to be thinking uniquely about different areas of life. It is very important that you learn to share your convictions, even if it creates conflicts. The very process of standing up for your beliefs creates change. With change, there is growth. Without growth, nothing can exist. Even the universe is constantly expanding and contracting. If you've never defended your convictions, how will you ever know to change when you are wrong? How can you help those around you who need to change if you continue backing down whenever you feel someone else is a stronger personality? Independence. Coming from a history of overdependency on others, you are not accustomed to functioning as a separate being. But if you are to be happy in any relationship, you must first gain your independence. For if you marry before you define yourself, you will surrender before the battle of identity is won. Then you could fall back into past life patterns of becoming too dependent on those around you and postpone finding your own strength and courage until your mate or friend, parent, employer, and so forth, whoever decides that he or she is tired of holding you up. If you wait to be shoved out the door, you are making your lesson more difficult than the universe intends for it to be. What you need to learn to function independently within society and relationships, to simultaneously be contributing to the whole and benefiting from the whole. If you cannot do this within a relationship, you will find it necessary to separate yourself to learn this lesson before you can live harmoniously with another. You are learning to find factors of individual identity that allow you to have a sense of self within the context of a relationship. For instance, when you have your own profession, creative project, or personal area of interest in which you maintain a sense of separate identity, it gives you confidence to be yourself and to hold to your own views in a relationship. Do those things that assist you in establishing your own identity and still be able to have a nurturing relationship. Assertiveness. Because of a fear of not being right, you allow mates and associates to make all the decisions. You have learned in the past to the value of the decisions of others over your own. You do also tend to attract strong-willed people who are very assertive. We always draw to us what we need to learn. And if the energy from your mannerisms tells the universe that you are lacking in assertiveness, the universe will send people and situations to you that will force you to incorporate this quality into your being. It is up to you whether you learn from this or allow yourself to be suppressed by it. In order to survive, you will either learn to assert yourself or buckle under to the will of the other persons. Either way, the issue of self assertion will be uppermost in your mind. You are extremely uncomfortable around raised voices and any form of anger, but you've come to practice asserting yourself when you are right. You are also breaking the habit of backing away from what you want when someone raises his or her voice. Self-trust. You are learning that might is not always right and that it's okay to go after what you want. It is not healthy to step aside because somebody else wants the same thing that you do. You need to learn this assertiveness so that you can compete successfully in the world. So strong is your fear of rejection and defeat that when any kind of competition arises, your inclination is to concede. It's important for you to realize that you may have to compete for some of the things that you want. A cause, a game, or object cannot say, I belong to you, come and take me. You first have to recognize it as a goal and then have the assertiveness to go after and to go get it. Part of self-trust involves overcoming the obstacle of being so afraid of losing that you don't get in the running. The only humiliation in competing comes from not even trying. Once you understand this, you can overcome your fear. You can overcome the fear of competition and learn to enjoy it. New beginnings. You are learning not to be afraid to start over. The Aries energy is one of new beginnings. It gives the ability to begin anew, which it must be incorporated into your soul's growth pattern. When you need to know all the facts and figures before making any decision, new beginnings can be extremely difficult for you. In any new beginning, there is an element of the unknown. You are learning to trust that you can handle what is ahead. And until you learn to trust the self, life will be a series of forced new beginnings. These forced new beginnings probably seem to occur without any rhyme or reason. You may find yourself continually going down dead end streets, as in going to work for a company that then soon goes into bankruptcy, or taking a job that is in the process of being phased out, or getting involved in a relationship that can't possibly work, forming friendships with people who are or who are about to move on. You only go down these dead end streets, however, because when you follow what other people offer, rather than getting in touch with the spark within and following those options that make you feel energized inside. When you learn to do what you want, finding those projects and relationships that charge your battery, you will find you are instinctively attracted to those situations that will not let you down. There will be no relief to the pattern of dead end streets until you learn that on a subconscious level, you already know what you need to do, and you have enough faith in yourself to go out into the world without fear of competition and rejection. You must have the courage of your conviction and enough to trust in yourself to be able to stand up and try again if something doesn't work out. Self-trust is the most important lesson for you to learn. Once you develop this attitude, there is very little that you cannot achieve.